Shanti. Good morning, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes, brother.
Thank you, Ben. So, welcome you all for today's webinar, The Magic of Simplicity. Thank you all for your time, for joining us today. Before we go further, I have a request to keep your distractions aside for some time, for an hour, and keep your questions till the end. We have a question and answer session at the end. Now, since we have joined the middle of the day, I'm sure you have been involved in so many activities until now. So let's give a break to our mind. Let's take a minute to silence our mind, and then we will continue. Just relax. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath and release it slowly. Observe your thoughts and the screen of your mind. There is a lot of traffic of thoughts going all directions. I'm not paying attention to any of those at this moment. I'm the master of my mind. I only think what is important for me at this moment. This next 1 hour of my time, I'm giving as a gift for myself. I clear all the baggage I carry in my mind. I set myself free. Nothing bothers me at this moment. I stay calm, peaceful, and relaxed. Now, I'm ready to experience the magic of simplicity. Om Shanti. Welcome back. We all love to have a good quality of life. A life filled with happiness and abundance. Most of our efforts are devoted in achieving this object or fulfilling the desire of improving our standards of living. When we say we have a good life or a great life, what comes usually to our mind? In order to say that I'm having a great life, what comes to your mind? You can type any of your answers. To consider myself, I'm leading a great life. What things I need to have in my life? Any responses?
Good health, peace of mind, good career.
Yeah. But in today's world, yeah, good career, promotion, more income. And then in today's world, if you happen to see most of the world, the primary focus would be on physical attainments. A good car, a bigger home, a nice and decent bank balance, new gadgets, vacation trips, nice jewelry, designer costumes, and then somebody said a good promotion or a nice career, rewards, recognition. There's so many things one might have, but these are some of the basic expectations everybody would have in their lives. And then there is nothing wrong to have a good car or a bigger home, or going for a holiday trips, etc. And whenever you buy something new, obviously it makes us happy, and we take the sense of pride in having something new in our home. But as the time progresses, our happiness diminishes. And then, meanwhile, a Black Friday or some Thanksgiving event that comes, and then many things go on sale, and then we buy something new again, and then we start feeling happy again for a few more days, and this cycle goes on. And then the more the cycle goes on, the more we strengthen the belief that some of the common beliefs that happiness comes from things we buy. More money means more happiness. My success defined based on the lifestyle, the luxurious, lavish lifestyle that I lead. And then in the world today, beauty means the outside physical appearance or decoration. With these common beliefs, now shopping centers have become stress busters. Beauty is confined to only the physical appearance. So that's why we spend a lot of money for cosmetics, makeup, costumes, and then fashion gear. And then we start working very hard and more money. So we buy more stuff so that we can be more happy. So unconsciously, we have moved from necessities to luxuries, from needs to unlimited wants. We were trapped in a rat race, and we have created a perfect pitch for the world of consumerism. Unfortunately, United States is leading the way for the rest of the world, setting up a bad example. If you look at some of the statistics here from the American Consumer Society, and then there are a lot of articles that are being published in various journals. American population makes up about 5% of the world population, but the same population consumes 25% of the world resources and produce 30% of the world's waste. Americans, they use 1/3 of the world's paper, 1/4 of oil, 23% of coal, and then 27% of aluminum, etc. Surprisingly, 99% of the stuff people buy in North America, they go to trash within 6 months. And then most disheartening thing is Americans throw 200 tons of edible food daily. I'm not talking about, so it will be in billions of tons if you calculate per year. And then on the other side, statistics say that 1 in 6 Americans, they are facing hunger. So other thing is these kind of consumerism is actually inculcated right from the childhood. So if you look at the children's population, 3% of the children population, US, all children make up 3% of the world population, but they consume 40% of the world's toys that are produced. If this is the way we consume, or if everybody has to consume on this planet, we need at least 3 planets to suffice the requirement of such a huge materialistic demand. Despite having so much of consumption, but still, if you have to ask, are you constantly happy? Probably the answer could be no. Because if you are happy, then probably you don't indulge in too much of spending and then buying, etc. So happiness derived from material objects diminishes over time. Our mind continuously keeps looking for something new. Actually, this phenomena is called hedonic adaptation or hedonic treadmill. If you look at an example here, you're here and then you have got a promotion. So immediately you retire 10 years old car and buy a new car. Then meanwhile, your neighbor has bought a Model 3 Tesla. So your happiness comes down. And then you're lucky enough to get another promotion. So you also take Model 3. Then you are happy again. So your happiness levels rise again. And the neighbor moves to Model S. Then you go down. Then you also aim to reach to the target. So you spend money again after some time and then buy Model S and you feel happy again. Then the next object would be buying a new house or bigger house. So this cycle keeps on and then it keeps on adding stress to you. So this is called the hedonic treadmill, which means in a treadmill, no matter how fast you run, how far you run, but you remain at the same point. It's the same more or less here in terms of your happiness as well. So we have thought that good life is in having a happiness through materialistic life, but good life is not actually in goods, or it's not a goods life. It's actually a trap that we have given to the all the corporations. So when we are in this trap, we feel controlled, confused, and distressed, deprived, and dependent and emotionally weak. According to these studies, the corporation, they spend at least $430 billion of money for advertisement. On an average, an American is watching television for 4 hours a day, and during that 4 hours per year, and each American is exposed to about 53K advertisements, 53,000 advertisements. And then these advertisements are so deceptively designed to influence your behavior, to guide you to imitate a lifestyle. For example, if you are going to a movie, watch a movie in the theater, what comes to your mind the first thing the moment you are sitting in the theater? Coke and then popcorn. That's how the programming is done. If you are watching sports on a television, what comes to your mind? 84% of the Americans, they consume alcohol or beer when they are watching sports. So these are the very careful programs injected upon us for the consumption. So The point here is how you can escape from the trap that is deceptively laid down by all these corporations. First of all, we need to understand why we are getting into this trap is because we have the habit of comparing and then competing with each other. So this is actually a very deceptive trap. The competition, which is happening actually right from the childhood, and then most of the time we parents tend to have that comparison with our children, with other children, and then we'll try to set some expectations and goals, and then we try to insist the performance of our child. In the long run, actually, it's going to have a very devastating effect on the children because we are trying to inject that victory is only thing that matters and nothing else. If you're not winning, probably then you're not being valued. So when you grow with this kind of mindset, then it is very hard for people to take the failures. And if something happens, if something doesn't happen the way that we are expecting, then it's very hard for them to adjust. And then their self-esteem goes down. As Einstein said once, everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, and it will live its whole life believing that it's a stupid. So, and not only that, when we compete, we do see people as potential obstacles rather than seeing them as potential opportunities for friendship and cooperation. And in fact, there is no competition exists in this world because every individual life is different. No two lives can be the same, even though if they are born in the same house, to the same parent, in the same conditions, but still they will not end up in the same way towards the end of their life. Their paths are different because what we see is only at this moment what is going on, but we do not know what has happened before in their lives before they have come to these parents. So they would have come from different paths. They have carried different fortunes with them, different samskaras. So you cannot have comparison or competition with anybody else. If at all, if you have to compete, you have to compete your own self. Do I make anything better than what I did yesterday? Am I reaching to my fullest potential? So that comparison with your own self should make you better than losing your peace competing with somebody else. So other is we need to learn to live within our means. I mean, in the name of meeting to the expectations of the world, we cannot spend money or anything more than what we make. So that's not within our means. I think COVID has perfectly helped us to, teach how to live within that means, because now we know how to live without shopping, without having too many expensive clothes or makeup or jewelries, costumes, whatever. And then we don't have to go too many times out for dining. So all these things code has already told you, taught you how to cope up life in a simple way. So get rid of the excess in your home, or because we would have accumulated over time. Most of the time we are impulsive in our buying habits. We tend to buy something which is on sale, which is cheaper, and there's a huge discount, 80%, 90% discount. We tend to buy this because we are attracted for the price, but we don't really judge whether we really need it. But we think that okay, someday whenever we need, then we have to pay the full price. So let me buy now and keep it home. for a future requirement. That's how the tendency usually. So like that, if we keep on doing, we accumulate so much of stuff. Probably think it's better to clear the clutter in our homes. Most importantly, to escape the trap is changing the program, whatever the programming that what we had. Like earlier we discussed already some of the beliefs that more money means more happiness, success means lavish lifestyles, beauty means physical appearance, all those things. In addition to that, living simple is not necessarily a compromise. Living simple is not necessarily an efficiency or a failure. Actually, it's not a compromise because you're living within your means, you are upholding your self respect, and you're not compromising your values. And then inefficiency, if you are living a life of abundance, a physical abundance, at the cost of health, your peace, happiness, courage, and wealth, all the, do you really call that is efficiency? I don't think so. You're paying a heavy price for that. And failure, actually, I call it as a success, not as a failure. The reason is you are able to overcome the temptations and desires like many could not do. So it's actually a success. So if in case, if you still have a confusion, really simplicity is that um, easy, or can it be really practiced despite having so much of money? You can see these people here. So what is common among these all these people, because all these are different walks of life. Some of them are very richest businessmen, billionaires. Some of them are politicians, heads of the countries. Some of them spiritual, world-renowned spiritual leaders, social workers, and then freedom fighters. So there are different people who are from different walks of life. But one thing strikingly similar from all these people is that is simplicity. Despite having so much the legacy with them, but still their lives are so simple. Which goes to say that simplicity is a virtue, and it is not a compromise, or it is not a failure, or it's not an inefficiency. So on the other side, bright side is based on what you have seen now. So you cannot buy happiness with money, or for that matter, you cannot replace happiness with comfort, because goods will give you comfort. All those luxurious goods that what we bought, all those definitely they give you comfort, but not happiness. So you cannot buy happiness through money or replace happiness with comfort. So we need to work on our needs rather than our greed, because greed has no limits. So all you have to do is question yourself, do I really need something? And then if there is a need, then yes. But if it is not a need, and then probably no. Happiness is an inside job. So we need to look within rather than looking for happiness outside in all these materialistic possessions. And then there can be no bigger makeup than a smile one can wear to look beautiful. So in order to imbibe the simplicity or implement the simplicity, first let us try to understand what does it really mean. It means like it's a quality of being plain, natural, and easy to understand. So the very name says it is easy to understand and it's natural and plain. So there is nothing complex about it. It's simple. But unfortunately, on the contrary, to the definition, it is least understood and seldom practiced, because we have made our lives so complex that it is difficult for us to come back to those roots of simplicity. And in addition, there are also some misconceptions that are working with us, because it's not that simple as we speak. Yes, it is not that simple, because as I said, we have habituated for a very complex lifestyle. But it is possible if you start with smaller baby steps, and then if you do consistently towards that goal of achieving a simplicity, over time it's possible. And then somebody thinks that, okay, simplicity is an ultimate goal, so people that should be your highest goal. And then if you're keeping simplicity as your highest goal, and then you will never get there, because until then you're not engaging yourself in making an effort to become simple, and then you will never get there, your to goal. Actually, it's not the goal, it's the journey of your life. So you should not make it as an ultimate goal. Other thing is, many people think that simplicity is old fashioned. Simplicity is timeless, actually. It is nothing like modern or traditional, because when simplicity brings you happiness, happiness knows no time, because it is timeless. So being simple does not mean that doing something. It's actually not. It is being that original self of you, what you really are. So it's not about doing something. So when you think of doing something, probably it comes to your mind that it's a big enough an effort. But being your own self, if you think that way, probably it's not that difficult task. So when you talk about simplicity, it's not just about the external behavior or appearance that determines your simplicity. It is actually more inside. It should begin with your internal environment. So simplicity begins with a simple thought. So externally, we can display the behavior of simplicity, maybe by cutting down or shopping or getting rid of our excess items, eating less, or not wasting food, keeping our home free from clutter and all those things. But those are all necessary, definitely. I'm not denying that. But most importantly, it should be your mind that should be very simple and then clean. Then only your simplicity begins from inside out. So once your mind has that simplicity and simple and pure thoughts, and then those simple and pure thoughts will translate into pure energies, and then your relationships, connections, and interactions, everything is being influenced by this simple pure energy, and then that becomes your way of living. And that's how simplicity is a beauty. And in fact, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Now let's look at the how we can imbibe the simplicity in our lives. It is starting with realization. So life is not really very complex that as it is experienced right now. Actually, we have made it complex, maybe because of our lack of understanding. Everything becomes simple if I really have the right awareness. So first of all, we should have the awareness of our own self, like who really I am. What is my name? Is it the name that people call me, or what is the nature of myself? And then what I am here for. So these are some of the things that one has to realize. If I am thinking myself, the one which I see in the mirror, then I am only concerned about managing what I see. That means my body. So all my effort, and all my thoughts will go only in the direction to take care of this body, to give comforts to this body, and then to make it more beautiful and more, sustainable, etc. So, but we know that this body has an expiry date one day. So that's why we end up having the fear of losing it, that is fear of death. And then we have the attachment towards our body and attractions to other bodies, etc. Those will come into picture. But actually, we are not what we see. We are what we do not see, which means the body is just an instrument. I am the living energy, the soul sitting in this body, and which is operating through this body and which is experiencing the life through this body. I, as a soul, as a spirit, has no time boundaries, or there is no expiry date for it, because I'm eternal. So I have, when I realize that I am that invisible energy, the living being, the eternal being, and this body is just a costume, obviously you start thinking more light, um, because it's just like you're changing your costume today. But when you go home or when you're taking shower today, you take out your costume and you don't feel really bad, no matter how much you like your costume that you're wearing today. But when you go to shower, you take it easily, and then you wear another costume, because you're aware you're not the costume. That's only a costume, right? In the same way, soul has the costume. This is the body. When you realize that so many complexities that are associated with the identity of body will automatically removed. So the second thing is, the first thing is realization who really you are, and then second thing is renunciation. What do you renounce? It is nothing but letting go of your old habits, beliefs, your attachments to objects and your possessions, or maybe your past as well. So you need to let go. Unless you are letting go of those things, you cannot really enjoy the present moment, what is happening in your life, and you cannot see the truth, what is happening in your life. So dump all those things where you are associating your self-image, renounce it completely, because we think that, okay, those objects are giving me happiness, but actually those are depriving you from happiness. So stop identifying it. And then once you really stabilize yourself with that self-realization, then you are actually uplifting your self-respect and self-esteem. The next thing is your relationship with your body, the nature, and people around you, and with the Supreme Being, the Almighty. So there are several relationships that are working in our lives. So every relationship is nothing but an exchange of energy. If you release the energy of love, compassion, trust, and respect, and there is harmony in that relationship. And if you are releasing doubt, anger, criticism, and then there is a conflict in that relationship. So it's all exchange of the energy. So now check what kind of energy that we are releasing with all the relationship, that what we discussed, that with your body, with the nature, with people around you, and with your Almighty God. The next thing is remembrance. So I want you to, with respect to the relationships, right? I want you to do a quick exercise in your mind, or maybe in a paper. Draw a small circle and write down the most loving person in your life, or the person that you like the most. Write down one person name in the circle, maybe in your mind or in a piece of paper, wherever you are. And then draw a bigger circle over that circle, and then write 2 names that you like the most. And then draw another bigger circle, write at least 4 or 5 names that you can think and write in this circle. Now, you have written approximately about 10 names, right? 8 to 10 names. Now, how difficult it is, to remember these the names that you have written. It's not that difficult because you know them, you have been meeting them, they are in your life, and then it's easy. In a second, you can remember them, even though they are not in front of you, but you can still remember them. Just by the name, you can live in those memories that you spent with them. The more you like the first circle person has more intimacy with you than the second circle, and so on. But my question is, among all these names, did you write God's name anywhere? Out of these 8 to 10 relationship or names that you have written as the most important people in your life, did you write the God's name? Probably not. If at all, if you have written, then congratulations. But if you have not written, probably it's time to think about it. On one side, we think, or we say, or we sing that God, you're my mother, you're my father, you're my teacher, you're my friend, you're my relative, and you are everything for me. And then when it comes to remembering the most loving relationship or the most important person in your life, God has no room or no place. Do you think there is something wrong with this? We all love God in one way or other. I'm not trying to put a name tag on the God here because everybody has their own belief system. But no matter whomever you consider God, do you have that name in the list of your close relations? If it is not, then it is very difficult to remember that person. Because unless you remove that physical barriers, you will not be able to realize the magic of Supreme, the highest Almighty Authority in our lives. Because like how you are a living energy, like which is not confined to any physical body or any other name or form, something like that. You are just living. Your name is a soul, right? So like that, when you are, but who should be your father? Your father should be the supreme soul, the supreme energy. So where is that relationship between both of you? If don't have that relationship, then we are living a life of being an orphan. Though we have physical parents, but as a soul, we are orphaned. We are leading the life of being an orphan life. Then now you already know how a life of an orphan would be. It's not so enjoyable. That's exactly what is happening in most of our lives today. So remove those tags and then consider yourself being the tiny point and living energy, and then try to connect or establish a relationship with that supreme energy, and then make an attempt to remember, and then you see the magic that what's going to happen, because remembrance begets remembrance. How magical it would be to get the subtle vibrations of remembrance as a form of blessings from Supreme itself, or Almighty Authority itself. You might be wondering, is it really possible to have that response or relationship through remembrance. You must have had so many experiences already in your life. When you're remembering someone that of your loving relationship, if you're constantly remembering, those energy, those vibrations will reach the other person, and then sometime they will call you, and then you might be saying that, hey, just now or just today, I was thinking about you, and then you made a call. So between the two physical bodily beings, even though they are souls, but they have taken the bodies, if you are able to transmit that energy, that vibrations of remembrance, then imagine the what could be possible with the supreme energy if you're really able to send that loving, um, pure positive vibrations to the supreme soul with a um, clearly defined relationship as a father, or maybe as a mother, as a friend, as a companion, whatever the way that you are, um, you have that interest, so you can forge that relation and then experience it. Because to bring that simplicity into your life, all you have to do is, as I said earlier, to become the being you are. All we are today is happening is we are looking at the materialistic lives, the materialistic world for that kind of happiness. Let me give you a small story here. Um, there was a king who has a daughter, most beautiful daughter, who is turning 16. So he wanted to give a gift, um, most precious gift, to his beloved daughter. So he ordered the finest, necklace made of, most precious diamonds. So the diamond necklace is delivered, and he's kept it in the palace, shown to his queen, and then kept it in the palace. Next couple of days, the birthday celebrations are going to be done in a very grand manner. But the following day, they realize that that necklace is lost or is stolen. So King was shocked, and then he was very much disappointed because they don't have time to make another one, and then birthday is coming very quickly in the next few hours, or maybe a day and a half. So he announced in the kingdom um, that whoever finds this necklace, they will get a huge reward, like say $1 million reward, for because that is priceless for him. He wants to see that happiness uh, in his daughter's face. So everybody's so excited, but they started, searching everywhere. And then and meanwhile, there's one guy who is returning from his home to work, um, from work to home. It's going back. It's been almost getting dark. He's walking along the side of a river, and then he starts seeing some shimmering sparkle coming out of the pond there. He was a little curious. He went near to the water, and then he sees there's a necklace that is being seen in the water there. So he is excited. He is reminded of that reward that king has announced, and then he gets into the water, and then he touches the water and try to pick up that necklace, but he couldn't do it because the moment touched, it vanished, and then the water is so muddy, he cannot see that again because the water is disturbed. So he waits for some time until the water settles down again. Then again the necklace is clearly seen into the water. He thought, okay, it could be deep underneath in the water bed. So he gets into the muddy water, um, um, and then he tries to bend his knees, and then he tries to search for it underneath, but still he could not find it. He tries for some time, he could not find it. So with a disappointment, he gets out of the pond and then he starts walking to his home. Then he comes across a saint there. So the man was so disappointed. Um, so he wants to know what's the reason why this man is so disappointed. Then he asks that man, so why are you so sad? Is there any reason? Is there any that way I can help you? The saint asking, but this guy was hesitant to share that because he doesn't want to tell that he found a necklace there in the water because somebody could take, because $1 million is not a small amount. Of course, in Bay Area, hardly you can buy maybe a condo, but that's a different issue. But for him, it's a big amount. So he was hesitant, but the saint insists him to reveal what's going on in your mind. So then finally he says, "Hey, this is what has happened. I could see a necklace there, and king has announced a reward. I can clearly see that, but I don't. I'm unable to take it out." So being a wise man, the saint thinks for a while and said, "Okay, probably it could happen in such a way that you have to see in the other side, maybe in the opposite direction. Probably you can find." So he goes back. This man goes back and he sees in the water again that is the shining diamond is still there. So he's opposite directions to the water is to the up in the sky. So he watches in the sky and then he finds it hanging on the tree there. So it is the same case happening with us as well. So we are all looking for those happiness. Instead of looking into the spiritual world, we are looking into the material world, and that material world is like that muddy pond. No matter how much you see, you will not get. You'll only see the reflection of peace, love, and happiness, but not the truth. And you don't really experience that unless you really get into the spiritual world. And this simplicity will help you to get into that spiritual world by practicing this 4 steps: realization, renunciation, relationship, and remembrance. We shall be able to tap into this world to experience that deep hidden treasures of peace, love, and happiness. So there is another R that I did not mention here, but to be able to do all these 4 Rs, there is another R that is your routine. Unless you build a daily routine for yourself, so you will not be able to do those smaller baby steps that I mentioned earlier on a consistent basis to be able to get the successful result. Because you cannot do it overnight, so you have to do it in a prolonged time. Uh, um, so if you create a routine, like routine, in our case, say for example, wake up in the morning and we do some meditation and we read some positive information, and then we do so many things, and then again we will do some more meditation, and then we read something, and then like that. So there has to be a specific routine which can inculcate the habit of simplicity in your mind and in your heart. Now, meditation can help you in this journey of bringing that simplicity back into your life. Because in this, all you have to do is find some time every single day, and that too, especially willingly, um, spend for meditating. Then automatically it can clear the clutter and makes your mind pure and clear. It connects you to the eternal truth that what we have spoken, with that pure relationship, whatever the relationship that what we have interest in meditation helps you to overcome the weakness and removes the falsehood. It invokes the goodness within and imbibes the virtues. Because it is simplicity is another virtue. That's what I mentioned earlier. And then it can attract many other virtues. If you can have one virtue, and then automatically many other virtues will also join. That's how you become completely virtuous. So it brings the sweetness of simplicity. So we have been all along, our innate desire is to bring that abundance or to experience that abundance in our lives. So we had a belief earlier that abundance means having an expensive car or a bungalow or bank balance or designers clothes or jewelry, etc. But the true abundance is not anything physical. The real beauty or abundance is within. And the beauty of this abundance is it can go on and along with the soul for for any number of births. So the physical abundance you have to let go here, but the spiritual abundance, it can come along with you. So the true abundance is where your mind is having a pure mind, having full of good wishes, having a loving heart and compassion, and a lot of knowledge, wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and then being decorated with divine virtues and samskaras, and most importantly, experiencing the truth, the company of the truth, the God Himself, as a father, teacher, Tadguru, mother, whatever the relationship. But having that experience of that elevated company is the greatest abundance one can think of in life. And then once you have that connection and relationship with that Almighty, and then what all God has that has been bestowed as an inheritance for every soul, and there can be no better abundance than that. So, in essence, simplicity is a virtue, and virtues give value to life. You can neither buy happiness with money nor replace it with comfort. Simplicity brings happiness and contentment, but it all originates from a pure thought in your mind. So it is internal. It attracts imperishable abundance in life because it makes you virtuous, and then along with virtues, divinity and all other fortune that will come into your life. And then meditation facilitate the transformation from a complex being into a simple being, because it's all about being, not about doing, and becoming your real self, that is you, the soul. So let us um, meditate for some time, and then we will take the questions. Sit back, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and release it slowly. Repeat it again. Relax your body. Release the tension in your muscles, in your legs, hands, shoulders, neck, and your facial muscles. Feel the easiness and comfort in your body. Slowly bring your attention to the center of your forehead. Ask yourself, who am I? Am I the image that I see in the mirror? Am I the role that I'm playing? Am I the name that people call me? Or the identity of nationality, language, religion, gender? Are these defining my identity? Did I not exist even before these labels? Who am I then? I am the living energy, the invisible being, the spirit, or the soul. I am an infinitesimal point of light. I cannot be seen through these physical eyes. I am so tiny. I am an eternal energy. I have no death. Nothing can destroy me. This body is my temporary dwelling, a guest house. I experience life through this body. I, the soul, am a peaceful, loving, and a happy being. That's my true nature. With the awareness of being a soul, I express and experience these divine qualities. My life is filled with supersensuous joy and nothing else. Ever since I lost the awareness of myself as a soul, I see myself as a body. This false identity brings me the fear of death, attraction, and attachment to the body. In order to experience happiness, I turn towards sensual pleasures. Material happiness and sensual pleasures are temporary. My effort to accumulate more is leading me to the world of competition and comparison. This material indulgence has created more stress, sorrow, and complexity. Am I happy and content with my life? I can clearly say this is not the way I want to lead my life. I love to be free, freedom from fear, expectation, weakness, and sorrow. How do I find that freedom? I clear the clutter and remove all these false labels and identities. I switch my awareness to remember me as a soul. I turn my attention inward and awaken the treasure stores of happiness inside me. It all begins with a simple thought, with a daily dose of knowledge and power of remembrance. I experience the abundance of happiness, peace, and contentment. Life becomes easy, simple, and natural again. That is the power of simplicity. The beauty of being my true self again. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. So a little bit introduction about this Brahma Kumaris. So it's been a global organization operating in 130 countries, 9,000 centers, teaches Raj Yoga meditation and personality development courses. So BK Silicon Valley chapter is run by Sister Kusum Kejriwal, who has been here for 25 years. Sister Kusum is an excellent teacher, guide, and then her knowledge and wisdom is a great help for everybody who is seeking the path of spirituality. So BK Silicon Valley offers free Raj Yoga meditation courses, webinars, kids programs, and then Living Values programs, etc. So upcoming events, on 23rd Saturday, we have a webinar called Untangling Uncertainty. And we also have the English and Hindi meditation courses, those who wants to really learn meditation and then start the journey of simplicity. Please register